Potok, the writer, speaker, and expert on the American radical right. For 20 years, he helped lead the Southern Poverty Law Center in exposing hate groups, right-wing terrorism, and the rapidly increasing infiltration of extremist ideas into our political mainstream. His website is markpotok, POTOK.net, and you can tweet him at markpotok, M-A-R-K-P-O-T-O-K. Mark, welcome back to the program. It's been a while.
Well, Tom, thanks for having me on. It has been a while.
It's always nice hearing your voice and your thoughts on what's going on. I have seen conflicting stories. I've seen several stories suggesting that this shooter down in Florida, Mr. Cruz, was a member of a Florida fundamentalist, right-wing, or, you know, not fundamentalist, what's the word, white supremacist, right-wing group.
Right.
And then I've also seen a report, I believe it was in Politico, maybe even the Washington Post, it was in one of the things that I regularly read, that said that the left got conned, but that it was just this right-wing, this white supremacist, he wanted some publicity for his group, so he came out and he said, oh yeah, Cruz is a member of our group, and it's not true. What's the actual story here?
It's a hell of a tale. In fact, most of the mainstream media, including Newsweek and CNN and all kinds of people, the Daily Beast, got snookered. And the Anti-Defamation League played, I'm sure, for them a very embarrassing role in this. So basically what happened was that on one of these, dark boards on the internet, 4chan, there was, a discussion of the shooter, Nikolas Cruz, and then they got into talking about, what if he were a member of a white supremacist group and so on? Wouldn't it be amusing if the media picked this up? And in the middle of this, there was a particular thread in 4chan that the ADL spotted, in which they were talking about it as if it were all real, not a prank, as it turned out to be. The ADL then actually, did a good thing, went a step further and actually called the leader of the group. The group's called the Republic of Florida, and the leader's a kid named Jordan Jareb. And this Jareb guy is well known in my world for being I can't think of the word for radio, but a dissembler, let's say. Yeah. Someone who likes to get press. He's not terribly smart, and this is what he does. So they call him up. He says, oh, yeah, I know that guy well, and he went on. And then in a sort of bizarre thing, about 4 or 5 hours later, as it started to pick up and get huge national press, Jareb said, oh, there was some kind of misunderstanding. It was another Nikolas. I was confused. That seems pretty patently not true. It seems like Jareb was obviously lying. But the thing, I think, started to get scary to him. The next thing was going to be the FBI showing up at his door. So that's essentially what happened. But one odd kind of postscript to the story is that nevertheless it's true that Cruz had apparently posted various anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-gay comments in various places, in Instagram in particular. That's a report from CNN, and I don't know independently that is true, and that perhaps CNN wasn't snookered as well. But it looked real, and we do know from the police that in the book bag carried by Nikolas Cruz, he had written, this is according both to police and to his mother, he had both penciled in or inked in a swastika, and then the comment, I hate black people, except black people, of course, was not the word that he used. Oh. So it's, mostly untrue, but there does seem to be some kind of, right-wing.
So we have pictures of this kid with a Make America Great hat, and apparently it's him. I guess he posted them. He's got this, I hate N-words. He's got the swastika. This is the profile that the FBI came up with in 2009, essentially, when, after they issued their report on left-wing terrorism in the United States in 2008, when they came out with the one on right-wing terrorism in the United States in 2009, Fox News, right-wing hate radio, the whole right-wing echo chamber got so hysterical that the FBI pulled the report. But wasn't this basically what
Napolitano backed away from it and said, apologized for it and so on? Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't his, isn't he almost the archetype of the stereotypical right-wing crazy who ultimately very often gets involved in right-wing terrorism?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure he's the archetypical type, and I say that for this reason. This kid reminds me more of a Dylan Klebold or somebody like that, one of the shooters at Columbine. If you remember, those kids also talked about Hitler and were sort of into Hitler worship and, read German and so on. But at the end of the day, it was pretty obvious that they were not per se white nationalists or white supremacists. They were, obnoxious kids with a dark view of the world who were, if it wasn't Adolf Hitler, it would be, Joseph Stalin or whoever they thought was most offensive to their parents and the world of their parents. So, my impression of Nikolas Cruz is that he was a very sick puppy, and it's sad. You read about his life, what brought him to this point. But certainly, I didn't see anything in anything he's posted that reflects even the vaguest kind of sophistication or really knowing anything about the white nationalist world, right? I mean, penciling a swastika on your book bag, well, how many kids do that in high school and middle school and even elementary school just to be, little obnoxious so-and-sos. Mm-hmm. So, is he the archetype? I would say more the archetype is Dylan Roof, for instance, the shooter in Charleston in 2015, murdered 9 black churchgoers and so on. That kid, although he also had some mental problems, clearly was, he had gotten all wrought up about Trayvon Martin and decided, black people were murdering white people and so on. And he was directly influenced by the white supremacist movement in the form of the Council of Conservative Citizens webpage, which is all about, that's a white supremacist webpage, which goes on about an alleged epidemic of black on white crime and, whites being subjected to genocide by black people and so on.
In the minute and a half we have left, Mark Potok, what is the state of that facet of the hard right, the anti-Semitic, racist, hard right in the United States?
Well, I think the state is it probably hasn't grown all that much because so much of their fire has been stolen, in effect, by the administration in Washington, by the White House. On the other hand, they are absolutely, I think, kind of electrified by having this guy in the White House who talks about African countries and Haiti and, and all kinds of things in what to me are explicitly racist terms. So, they're thrilled on the one hand. On the other, this is a part of when these groups have sympathetic administrations, it tends to deplete their own membership and so on. So I think they're kind of bumping along and obviously are in the news rather frequently, especially when they go and try and recruit on campuses, on college campuses.
Is their general trajectory right now upward or downward in terms of power, influence, and membership?
Well, I think upward in the sense that, their ideas, at the core of all of this is their ideas about what America is. Is this a country, of, by, and for white people, or is it, a creedal nation in which, anyone can be an American and so on? And, I think obviously we're seeing a huge rise in right-wing populism and in economic and especially racial nationalism, and it's not limited to the United States. This is very much alive and well in Europe. We need only think of places like Hungary and Poland and any number of others.
Yeah, remarkable. Mark Potok, writer, speaker, expert on the American radical right. His website, markpotok, POTOK.net, and you can tweet him at Mark Potok, MARKPOTOK. Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Tom, thank you for having me.
Always great talking with you, and such great insights. And, of course, the Southern Poverty Law Center that he was once affiliated with, a great organization. We'll be back.